Hey guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. In this episode, we will talk about two stories of how temporary residents are defrauded here in Canada. Marinig po ninyo yung halaga ng mga perang involved. At kung tutuusin, maliit pa to, no? Compared sa ilang mga napag-usapan natin dati. But you will really understand better why immigration fraud in Canada continues to exist, no? Kasi kung ikaw ay willing manloko ng iba, ang dami mo talagang pwedeng kitain, kumbaga. Siyempre, masama yun, ah. But the truth is, it's such a lucrative scheme, no? Tapos parang tila ang dali pa makahanap ng mabibiktima mo. It's such a lucrative scheme for people who have no regard, who do not care about other people's lives and other people's futures, no? That is the sad reality of it. Anyway, sige, puntahan natin po yung unang kaso. Ito. It was all over the news yesterday. Ang basehan po, itong CBSA press release talking about criminal charges filed against two individuals na nanloko na mga international students. Mukhang dose-dose ng estudyante ang nabiktima nito. At ang nakobra nila, mahigit $100,000 combined, no? Combined. So 12 criminal charges have been filed. Ito po yung mga kaso. 4 counts of fraud over $5,000. 4 counts of uttering forged documents. Okay? And another 4 counts of counseling misrepresentation. Yan. Ang sabi dito sa press release, ang nagtip sa operasyon ng dalawang ito ay yung mismong college kung saan supposedly, no, akala ng mga international students naka-enroll sila. Ang Lambton College. Ito po yan. Okay? So sige, basahin natin po yung press release. CBSA has laid multiple criminal charges after investigating an immigration scheme that defrauded international students of an estimated $126,000. Makikita nyo rin dito, ang tagal nung naging investigasyon, ano? Feb 2025 daw nag-umpisa yung investigation. Matapos makakuha ng impormasyon o tip yung CBSA from Lambton College. So, nag-interview sila ng mga victims at nagkaroon ng extensive investigation. 2 individuals are alleged to have taken money from international students. Ito ang kanilang ginawa. They falsely promised na yung kinokolektang pera sa mga estudyanteng ito ay gagamitin para pambayad sa kanilang tuition fee. So, binigyan pa sila ng mga peking enrollment documents. Nakikita nyo, no? Talagang clearly may intention silang mangloko. They produced fake documents. So, fraudulent enrollment documents. But the truth was, hindi po talaga sa enrolled. Hindi po talaga sila enrolled doon sa Lambton College. They were not enrolled in the post-secondary programs that had been promised. Tapos, nagkaroon din daw ng search doon sa mga bahay at iba pang workplace yata nung dalawang accused. Okay. At doon nakakolekta daw ang CBSA ng evidence of the fraudulent scheme from electronic devices. Hindi tulad nung ibang manloloko, alam nyo guys, ginagawa nila, di ba ginagamit yung mga WhatsApp or kung ano mang apps kung saan kakausapin nila yung mga biktima nila, tapos disappearing message yung mangyayari. Kapag naka-disappearing yung setting, after I think within a day, all your communication will be deleted. Mas mahirap yan kung ikaw ay mabiktima ng mga gumagamit niyan. Kasi, nababawasan ka ng ebidensyang pwede mong ipresenta. Okay, sakaling tumuloy ka sa pagkaso sa mga ito, no? Kaya guys, one big tip is communicate via email. Okay, para at least mas madali po, mas klaro, okay, well-documented ang inyong communication. Alright? Para malagi meron kayong ebidensya. Okay, so anyway, ito nahuli sa electronic devices. Subsequent warrants were obtained to examine the digital forensic data from those devices And as a result, ayun na nga. Okay, kinasuhan, 100 kaso. Nandito rin po yung mga pangalan ng kinasuhan. Hardick Dave ng Cambridge, Ontario. Okay, siya daw po ay sasalang, magpapakita sa korte July 10. Okay, and also, Jainesh Kumar Patel. Okay, na taga London, Ontario naman. Yun nga lang, itong si Mr. Patel is believed to have fled the country and is wanted on an arrest warrant. Wala na po dito sa Canada. This obviously makes it harder, I'm sure, for Canadian authorities to go after him. Okay, lalo na kung hindi ito citizen, for example, hindi citizen ng Canada. Umuwi ng bansa niya, no, kung saan man siya galing. Let's wait and see. Sakaling merong coordination kung saan man siya nagpuntang bansa. Tapos kung willing yun, i-extradite pabalik ng Canada itong taong to, no? So, isa sa mga hindi po natalakay dito, syempre, no? Kung ano na kaya ang mangyayari dun sa mga nalokong students, right? If they thought they are going to be here as students, tapos hindi pala sila naka-enroll, ano na kaya nangyari sa kanilang status? I won't be surprised if many of them will add to the out-of-status population. Diba? Kawawa naman. Nawala na sila ng pera, nawalan pa ng status. Nawala na nga ng pera, maaari pang magkaroon ng removal order. No? Ganyan po ang epekto, no, sa mga taong naloloko. Kawawa naman. O sige, puntahan po natin. Ito pang pangalawang report naman. This is from the Toronto Star a couple of days ago. Merong magkapatid dumating mula Jamaica. Okay, they are TFWs, nakakuha ng 3-year contract mula sa isang employer. 3 years. After 6 months, sila daw po ay tinanggal sa trabaho. Pero hindi po yun yung main issue. Okay, ang nangyari po kasi, ilang linggo lang silang sinweldohan. Parang mga mahigit 1 buwan lang. After nung 6 weeks of them getting their salary, natigil. Okay? Umabot pa ng 6 months when they started demanding further unpaid wages. Nung hininginan nila yung kanilang sweldo, bigla silang chinugi. O ang problema, sila po ay naka-closed work permit. Hindi sila ngayon makalipat ng ibang trabaho. They filed for a vulnerable open work permit, but that too took a while before they got it. So ang nangyari po, no, may panahon yung magkapatid became homeless here in Canada. Kawawa naman, ano ba yan? So they brought the employer to court, and the court, okay, ordered the employer to pay them a combined $178,000 in wage theft. Apart from the mismong unpaid wage, meron pang compensation, of course, for the trouble that they went through, no? Ang problema, eto kayo, 2 months ago pa po in order yung pagbabayad. At hindi pa rin sila binabayaran. So this is another reason, no, why immigration fraud exists. Kahit na may order na yung korte, okay, nabayaran mo itong dalawang to, there is clearly a lack of enforcement. Diba? So what message does this send to those who are abusive? They continue to get away with it, even with a court order issued 2 months ago. Sabi po nung report, no? The brothers, Garrick and Ramesh, are still waiting on more than $178,000 in stolen wages and damages owed to them by a Canadian construction company. Ito yung bigger issue rin talaga, as pointed out by this report. Recovering unpaid wages following successful wage theft claims is a central pillar of Ontario's employment standard system. It's intended to ensure workers receive the money they are legally owed. Ito ang problema. According to advocates daw, there's an increasing number of people who are unable to collect successful claims. With migrant workers like the brothers, itong nasa kaso, facing even greater barriers due to their precarious immigration status. Yan ang lagi talagang ginagawa, no? Minsan sinasadya talaga eh, hindi lang ng mga employer, no? Kahit ng mga consultant, for example, na hinahabol sa small claims court. Ang tagal din ng proseso dyan, by the way. Kapag sila ay in-order na, o sige, bayaran nyo yan. Hindi talaga nila muna babayaran. Bakit? Alam nila na it's just a matter of time before these workers run out of status. Before these students run out of status. At kapag yan na may wala ng status, talagang kumaga, syempre, pati yung mental health nung kanilang mga dapat bayaran, apektado na, no? Naguguluhan na. Hindi na nila alam kung paano ba nila hahabulin yun. Sila ba ay magiging aggressive in pursuing, that claim? Kapag sila ay wala ng status, isa po yan sa mga concerns nila, no? According to this report, the company and its owner did not respond to several emails and phone calls from them, requesting comment on its treatment of workers. Pero according to the website daw of the construction company, tignan mo, meron siya mga proyekto sa gobyerno. So this is a government contractor. Balikan natin yung konting storya, no? According to the findings of the ministry, the brothers repeatedly asked their employer about their missing wages. Meron daw audio recording. Yan ang maganda. Kailangan talaga, guys. Documented. Okay, ang iyong mga komunikasyon. An audio recording reviewed by officers showed the employer said he did not have the money to pay the workers and warned that he could cancel their work permits and lay them off. Bawal din po talaga yan, guys. Si-threaten ka, sabihin na, ba't sinisingil mo ako ng sweldo mo? Alam mo bang pwede kitang palayasin? Bawal po yun. Tapos ayun na nga, eventually they were fired and the ordeal left the brothers homeless and struggling to find new work to support their loved ones and children in Jamaica. Sabi nung isa, it was devastating. At ang sabi rin daw ng magkapatid, for this reason, the brothers said they have no plans to return to Canada and would not recommend that their friends seek work here. Anyway, what do you guys think about this? No? Baka meron tayong mga kababayan dyan na experiencing the same, or who have experienced the same kind of abuse, panloloko. If you have stories to share, feel free to email them to me or put them down there in the comment section. Okay? I'll end this episode here. See you guys in the next one. Bye!